What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTP Sports and the Phillies. I wish I could talk about this team when they win a game like they did in yesterday's contest against the Giants, and it was a feel-good win. But then they just followed that up with pure slop and getting embarrassed once again in this series, allowing 10-plus runs. Aaron Nola, just to start, just has been the same performances, I guess you could say, for a majority of the start of the season for Aaron Nola. I guess really except that one start that he had against the Dodgers. He just wasn't sharp to start the game. That's saying it lightly. Walking in another run with the bases loaded, he's just allowing way too many base runners. Then, it's the same thing with Aaron Nola that frustrates a lot of Phillies fans. Bad inning, then he settles into the game, looks really good, and then blows up again once, before he comes out in this game. And then basically everybody that came out of the bullpen just failed. Ruiz came into an impossible situation in that sixth inning with bases loaded. He was going to allow a run or two to score. Joe Ross came in and just was garbage, absolute garbage. And then Hernandez was just there in garbage time to eat innings at that rate. So you really weren't expecting much at that point. Offensively standpoint, you had your chances. That's not sugarcoating it. Once Aaron Nola allows the 4 spot in the top of the first inning, you thought it was just going to be an uphill battle from there. But no, Robbie Ray for the San Francisco Giants, he was hand-delivering you opportunities. He walks the bases loaded. He walks in a couple of runs. You can't put the ball in play. You can't get a hit when, for some reason, this team is allergic to hitting with runners in scoring position. As soon as a player for the Phillies on the base paths reaches second base, once they get in the scoring position, for some reason this team just cannot drive those runners home. When it's a runner in scoring position with no outs, when it's a runner in scoring position with 1 out, when it's a runner in scoring position with 2 outs, yeah, maybe they'll get that one random hit in there with runners in scoring position and they'll drive the run home. But majority of the chances right now, they're not delivering, and that's what this team is right now. They just can't. They just can't, and it's very frustrating to watch, but I got no sense of just constantly yelling about the same goddamn things every single recap because we're all going to drive ourselves insane. This team's not good enough right now, and they haven't been good enough for the past 3 years. And until they prove you something different, this is the way you got to go about your business as a fan. Johan Rojas does not deserve to be a Major League Baseball player. He definitely, wants the Phillies tie the game on another Bryce Harper home run. So hopefully his bat is going to be starting to heat up because he had a home run yesterday to give the Phillies the lead. And, he ties the ball game up today. Aaron Nola allows a couple of base runners as soon as Bryce Harper ties it. And then Johan Rojas overthrows everybody and allows the run to score. It's fundamentals. Fundamentals that this team just can't do. They just cannot do. Johan Rojas does not deserve to be a Major League Baseball player. You can't even use his defense now to defend him. You cannot. I'd rather Brandon Marsh go out there, and that's saying something, because Brandon Marsh is not that good either, even though I don't think Brandon Marsh's, his splits aren't as bad as they are right now. But he's not, the slash line for him isn't as bad as it's supposed to be, but right now it's bad. Alec Bohm, yeah, he's starting to luck into a little bit more hits here and there, but it's still nothing drastic. Still nothing drastic at all. Kyle Schwarber seems to have cooled off a little bit. Nick Castellanos, he'll have his good games, he'll have his bad games. Trey Turner really still hasn't done much yet. Bryson Stott had a good game yesterday. He got the day off today. Sosa's magic seems to have died off. You're not really expecting much from Marchand. It's just what this team is what it is right now. Not good enough. Not good enough. It's crazy, too, when you think about it. And actually, before I get into more topics, might as well just, bring the intro in here because I'm like 5 minutes into the stream or something like that. So what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTP Sports. If you are new to the channel, I definitely recommend you hitting that subscribe button. You can also drop a like and leave a comment in the comment section down below. You can also use the code TTPSPORTS, $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. It is a great deal. Do not pass it up. And you can also leave a follow over at TTP Sports on TikTok and Instagram for all the good other content there. So, what I was going to bring up there was it feels impossible to be this bad with runners in scoring position, as bad as they are, the Phillies, that is. But you think that they're the worst team in Major League Baseball when it comes to driving in runners with runners in scoring position. But to contrary to the belief, there's teams that are worse than them. I just didn't expect that that would be true. And I think I did bring this up a couple of streams ago. I think it was like, Phillies tailgate or something like that on Twitter that like showed the 5 worst teams in terms of runners in scoring position, average wise. And I think the teams that were below the Phillies, I think there was like 4 or 5 teams that were below the Phillies, and some of them are supposed to be good teams in the league. The Guardians, I think, are a team that's worse than the Phillies with runners in scoring position. The Mets, surprisingly, are a team that is worse with runners in scoring position. The Braves, they're worse with runners in scoring position. I guess that reflects the record the Braves have right now. But the Mets, they're a team that's above 500. They're first in the NL East, and they're terrible with runners in scoring position. It's just crazy. It is absolutely insane that there are teams that are worse than the Phillies with runners in scoring position. I just cannot fathom to even think that, because the Phillies just look like they cannot function when runners get towards second base. When they get to third base, they just forget how to hit. They just forget how to hit. You don't have trouble getting the runners on, you have trouble driving them home. And it really sucks to the fact that, when Robbie Ray is giving you all the goddamn chances in the world to, get back into the game basically right away, I just got nothing. I just got nothing for that. Because if you look at the game just to start off from the Aaron Nola perspective, he gets 1 out on 1 pitch, and then Adama's doubles, Lee singles, which scores that run instantly, 1-0 Giants. Then Chapman singles, then Ramos walks, then he manages to get Wade striking out. So you have 2 outs there with the bases loaded, but then Flores walks with bases loaded, brings in a run, becomes 2-0, and then Bailey gets an RBI single. He hits it into the right side of the infield where the Phillies are shifted more towards center field. Trey Turner comes to dive for the ball. It boots it a little bit, of course, and then that allows another run to score on that factor, so it becomes 4-0 Giants right then and there. Then you go to the bottom of the first inning. Trey Turner reaches in on an infield single. Bryce Harper then walks. Then those 2 advance to second and third on a wild pitch. Schwarber then walks, so you have bases loaded, nobody out. Chance to come back into this game maybe with 1 swing or a few swings. Nick Castellanos in a 2-0 count, he pops up. JT Realmuto, he walks with the bases loaded, drives in a run, becomes 1-0. Then Alec Bohm, 3-2 count. Well, actually, not a 3. It's a 3-2 count. Had a slider right over the middle of the plate that he just did not, either it fooled him or something. I have no fucking clue, because this man was so late on this slider. It was like right at the top of the strike zone, and it looked like once Robbie Ray threw that pitch and Alec Bohm noticed what the pitch was, he was just like, oh shit, this isn't the strike zone. I gotta swing at this. And he fucking missed it by a mile. My God. So that's out number 2 of the inning. Then Edmundo Sosa walks, which drives home the second run of the inning. And then Marchand kind of gets screwed on the first strike. It was very low in the strike zone, and the umpire decided to call it, and that kind of screwed up the at-bat from there, because Robbie Ray just stuck to that lower inside corner, and Marchand tried to chase every time there just because he didn't know if the umpire was going to call it a strike. And that's basically it. So after that inning, it's 4-2. Aaron Nola, he had a nice solid bounce back in there. 1-2-3 basically after a leadoff single. Marchand threw the runner out at second base. Phillies in the bottom of the second inning after a Bryce Harper 2-out walk, nothing. Phillies in the bottom of the third. Nick Castellanos leadoff single. Alec Bohm a bloop single, which got Castellanos over the third base. Edmundo Sosa pops up and Marchand grounds out. Top 4 for the Giants. Nola, solid inning right there. Bottom 4, Rojas surprisingly make good contact. Double down the left field line. Bryce Harper comes up, first pitch he sees, and this is the first strike that they've seen all game from Robbie Ray. Bryce Harper's walked twice, and all of them are balls. First pitch, first strike he sees, sends it into the seats, ties the game up at 4. So you got a tie game there. Top 5. After a lead double, Chapman singles to center field, where Johan Rojas decides to throw all the way home instead of throwing it to the cutoff man. That allows the run to score because the ball also goes into the dugout, which allows Chapman to go to third base because he was running on the throw. So, yeah, great job there, Johan. So it's a 5-4 Giants lead now. Bottom 5, Phillies don't do anything. Top 6. After the first out, Nola walks Bailey after going up 0-2 in the count. Fitzgerald singles. Then Yastrzemski walks, so that loads the bases up. Phillies decide to go to the bullpen. They bring Jose Ruiz in. Ruiz walks Adames. with the bases loaded, makes it a 6-4 game, and then Lee hits a sacrifice fly to make it 7-4. Bottom 6. Harper, 2-out single. Turner reaches in. Well, he strikes out technically, but the ball got away from the catcher. He managed to beat it out at first, so there technically was 1 out in that situation. Then Harper singled, so you got first and second for Kyle Schwarber. He flies out, moves Trey Turner over the third, and then Nick Castellanos grounds out into a fielder's choice. And then Joe Ross comes in, it implodes, it eventually becomes 11-4 Giants, and that is the rest of your ball game. So I'm not going to go over the rest of that crap. Stat-wise, looking at the pitching staff, Nola, 5 1/3 innings, 9 hits, 7 runs, 6 of them earned because of the Rojas error. 4 walks, 8 strikeouts, 99 pitches, 68 strikes. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with Nola. Ruiz, 2/3 of an inning pitched. He allowed the inherited runs to score for Nola. 1 walk, 9 pitches for him. Joe Ross, goddamn terrible. 1 inning, 4 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. And then Hernandez, I guess you could say he did his job. 2 innings, 3 walks, 1 strikeout, 41 pitches. He was just pitching in garbage time. Lineup. Trey Turner, he is 1 for 5. He's batting a good old .222 on the season. Bryce Harper, can't blame anything on him in this game. He was the lone source of a bright spot in this game for the Phillies offensively. He was 2 for 3 with 2 walks and a 2-run shot, so really can't blame him. Kyle Schwarber, he looks like he is cooling off in terms of the hits. He even though he had a hit in this game and a walk, he went 1 for 4. Hasn't hit a home run in a little bit. Nick Castellanos, he's 1 for 4. JT Realmuto, 0 for 4 with a bases loaded walk. He also struck out 4 times. Alec Boehm, 1 for 4. Edmundo Sosa, 0 for 2 with a bases loaded walk. Clemens eventually came into the ballgame to pinch hit. He went 0 for 1. Marchand, 0 for 4. Rojas, 1 for 2. And then Marsh came in for defensive replacement. Once the Giants went to their bullpen, he went 0 for 2. And the Phillies, they went 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Bryce Harper was the only person to get a hit with runners in scoring position, and that was the 2-run home run. Phillies left 10 runners on base. And for the Giants, they went 6 for 16 with runners in scoring position. They also left 10 runners on base. Giants also had 13 hits. Yastrzemski had 2 hits. Lee had 2 hits. And then basically the rest of the lineup was just chipping in there. So, yeah, one of those games. Yeah. Just very annoying. Very annoying. Don't know what else to say there. So, don't know. Julian, me and you are going to constantly disagree on the Trey Turner signing. Who else would you have signed for $300 million? I'm just saying. I'm just pointing that out there. Who else would you have signed? Because everybody and their minor would have given Trey Turner $300+ million. I'm just pointing that out there, man. I know you don't like Trey Turner, but any other team would have given him that contract. Any other team would have. It was a good signing at the time, and right now it's not paying off. So I don't know what to tell you. You can't always just play revisionist history. Yeah, I can't defend Trey Turner right now offensively. He's batting .222 with a 300 on base and a .317 slug. I can't defend that. I cannot. But to say that the signing, like right from the get-go, is you're just playing revisionist history right there. I'm not going to argue that. I know we're all frustrated here, Julian, but Jesus. Nobody spread it around the 3 or 4 guys. Who would you have signed then? Give me your players that you would have signed. I'm not trying to be a jerk off here, but I'm just like, every time you come in here, you bash Trey Turner. Like, you hate Trey Turner so much. I don't get it. I don't get it. And even though I can't say to try to defend the guy, he's not playing good right now. But we're also bashing the guy that batted .295 last year. So. Huh? I'm bashing the guy that batted .295 last year, so. Can't, even though people say batting .295 is a terrible season, so. I guess I don't know how to judge. Yeah, now I could bash .222. I could bash a 300 on base. Yes, Trey Turner was an all-star last year hitting .295. People seem to forget that. But when Trey Turner goes quiet, he gets majority of the blame when the entire team goes quiet in the playoffs. But Trey Turner gets the blame because he's making the money. I don't care how much money he's making. It's not my money. It's not my money. Middleton will sign another guy eventually, making a lot of money. Middleton will. Just because one guy making $300 million is not playing the best, I don't think that's going to deprive John Middleton from going out and spending another guy that makes three. You sign Bryce Harper to a $300 million contract. Is John Middleton regretting that? Is John Middleton regretting that? I'm just like, just because you sign a guy to a $300 million contract shouldn't derive you from going out and signing another guy making $300 million. The Dodgers do it constantly. Other teams do it constantly. It shouldn't, force you. Oh, just because one guy that is not performing up to his expectations and he's making $300 million doesn't mean that we should go out there and not sign a $300 million guy. Doesn't mean we should go out there and not sign guys in free agency. Don't go out there and sign guys that are at the top of the free agency class. Guess we can't do that anymore. It's a very flawed mindset, to be honest with you. Now, I'm not trying to pick on you there, Julian, but I just think your logic's flawed, in my personal opinion. I know you're as frustrated and you let your emotions really get the best of you when you share the emotions in the chat, and I know this is therapy for all of us. Gotta be a little rational there, my guy. I love you. Gotta be a little rational. Gotta be a little rational. Gotta remember, Trey Turner was one of our best hitters last year. He made the All-Star team batting .295. The entire team sucked besides Bryce Harper and Nick Castellanos in the playoffs. Not going to bash Trey Turner for batting .295 and having the solid offensive season that he had last year. Because he plays bad defense, whoop-de-fucking-do. Not bashing Trey. Like I said, Trey Turner, I'm not saying he is above criticism. You can criticize Trey Turner, but to say the guy outright sucks is just false. It's just false. And I got you in that chat right there, you say Trey Turner sucks. He does not suck. Because I can go throughout the entire lineup and tell you, so if I look at this entire lineup, let's see. Bryson Stott sucks. Bryce Harper batting .269, he sucks. Kyle Schwarber batting .266, he sucks. Alec Bohm batting .167, even though I don't think that's truly what Alec Bohm is. Right now, he sucks. There are players on this team that are worse than Trey Turner. And I think Trey Turner, yes, he is not playing to his capabilities, and he does deserve criticism, but there's so much fucking wrong with the team, I just can't point out one single player. There is so much wrong with the team right now that pointing out one player just does not make sense to me. That's what I'm trying to look at there. One player compared to the rest of the team playing miserable. Didn't think this would turn into a Trey Turner defense. Because I thought it would be like an Aaron Nola defense, even though I cannot defend Aaron Nola for this game. We're all very frustrated with this team right now. And rightfully so. I'm not saying that nobody should be frustrated with this team. Because, my God, this team is frustrating. To the living hell. Their pitching staff is still good, even now there's question marks surrounding Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler at this point with the way they've performed so far. They're pitching, basically the major, the bullpen looks terrible, obviously. Besides, guys like Alvarado, Matt Strahm and shit. It's just, I don't know what to tell you. I don't have the answers. I do not have the answers. I apologize for not having the answers. Yeah, they 100% should have made changes in the offseason. I'm not denying that. They should have, traded Alec Bohm when he was out there on the trade market. They should have, made some changes to the coaching staff. I'm not saying Kevin Long is the full blame of the entire reason why the offense sucks, but it's like a change of, scenery type of thing. Maybe just getting a new fresh face in there, getting a new type of philosophy in there. I don't think Kevin Long is the whole responsibility for the offense being terrible, because Kevin Long, if the Phillies were to fire Kevin Long, another team would scoop him up instantly, because the entire of Major League Baseball thinks he's one of the best hitting minds in the league. Obviously, he's going to have a sour taste in the city of Philadelphia fans because of the way the offense has been for the past few years. Who knows? Now, can we really sit here and say Rob Thompson is to blame? I think more people are just upset with Rob Thompson because he's a player type of guy at this point. And I think Rob Thompson has shown signs of trying to be, getting ahead of the curve, like trying to find solutions. Like he's making changes in the lineup. He's doing different leadoff hitters. He's trying to put different people behind Bryce Harper to protect him. He's trying to do different things with the lineup, but it's just like there's so many people that are struggling all at once. Like, what is the guy supposed to do? Now, I'm not saying Rob is fully 100% safe here. I don't think he's fully to blame either. Well, now if the team really needs the firing effect of a manager to get them going, that really says something about your team there. Now, I don't know the mentality of Dave Dombrowski because realistically, we have no idea what goes on behind closed doors. We have no idea what goes on in that front office because really nothing gets out. Really nothing gets out. I don't even know like the 100% credibility to Alec Bowman, Nick Castellanos being thrown out there for Kyle Tucker. We have no idea. We have no idea. I don't know the philosophy of not doing much in the offseason to, is it trying to save some I don't know if it's like a payroll type of thing or you're trying to change like your approach to where let's not be so uber aggressive in the offseason for changes. We'll make our changes during the season. We'll make some early trades. We'll do stuff at the trade. I don't know. I'm just trying to, I'm thinking of questions and I'm just trying to go through different reasons as to why things are the way they are right now. Why don't you do any moves in the offseason? Why don't you make these moves? Why are you waiting so long to make these changes? Why do you think this is acceptable right now? Why do you believe so much in this team? Because there's just so many things that don't make sense, and I'm just trying to figure out their philosophy right now. That's like there's so many things with this team that just don't make sense, in my personal opinion. I'm not saying it wouldn't work. It definitely would spark a fire in this team. But I just don't see them firing Rob Thompson midseason. I can see them firing Kevin Long midseason. I don't see them firing Rob Thompson. I don't see that happening. I just don't think they're going to do that again. Because realistically, who do you replace Rob with? Is there a manager on the market that you could easily replace him with? Or do you just go, once again, replace him with a bench coach? Do you just do that? I don't think there's a viable option to replace Rob. I just don't see that. I don't see them doing that. The only thing, like I said, I can realistically just see them doing is firing Kevin Long. Nah. Joe Madden, nah. Nah. Joe Madden, no. God, no, not Joe Madden. God, no, not Joe Madden. It'd just be another Joe Girardi, in my personal opinion. Joe Madden would just be another Joe Girardi. I do not like that idea. Personally, I just don't. I just don't. If you thought Joe Girardi was frustrating, you're probably gonna think Joe Madden is very frustrating. Joe Madden had his moments. He was a good manager with Tampa Bay. He won the World Series with, Chicago. It's just, and he really flamed out. Really couldn't get much out of that Cubs squad where they should have won multiple World Series. When they won in 2016, they were still built to win multiple. They were built to go back to the World Series. They just never realized that potential again. I just don't know what route you go. I don't know what route you go. Get Dusty Baker at no. God, no. They're not getting Dusty Baker. Or hire a former player. Raul Bonias has been thrown out there, I know, as a manager like in the past, but I don't know what you do. I really don't know what you do. Uh, because when I look at this, some of the players on this team, because I'm going to keep bringing it up, even though I'm like very soured out on Alec Bohm. Alec Bohm is not a 167 hitter. Alec Bohm's not a 167 hitter with a 194 slug. That's not Alec Bohm. Um, Brandon Marsh, as much as Brandon Marsh has been bad this year, and I don't think there's that much specialty to him, he's not a below the Mendoza line hitter. He's not. He's not a below 100 hitter. He's not a guy that's batting 095. He's put solid numbers up for you in the past. Um, who else? Trey Turner's not this bad. Bryce Harper, his numbers will get better. His bat does look a lot better, especially since he's hitting for the power again. Nick Castellanos, this is probably the best he has looked in a Phillies uniform. J.T. Realmuto, I think he's really one of the only guys offensively that makes sense for the reason why he would regress because of his age. Sosa, he's a flash in the pan type of guy. Marchand, you really shouldn't expect much of him. It's weird too because these guys, like some of these guys have good on base percentages. Like Bryce has an elite on base percentage. Schwarber has a great on base percentage. Castellanos has a good on base percentage. Sosa, obviously. Marchand has solid for his role. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. Aaron Nola post game. Aaron Nola on the struggles with his command recently. He says to himself, "It's unacceptable." He said he's putting the blame on himself. He's taking accountability. There you go. That's what you want in a player. You want him to take accountability on his struggles. He's doing that. What else is there? Anything else on the Twitterverse? I don't think there is, in terms of post game. No. Nolan needs the warmer weather. It just seems right now, Tyler. Personally, I just never thought Johan Rojas was a good major league player, and the only thing that was to his defense was his defense. Um, it's literally to the point where just you need a new center fielder in general. You need a new center fielder in general. Johan Rojas ain't gonna cut it. Full time Brandon Marsh ain't gonna cut it. You just need to figure out a solution there. And realistically, the only solution there is a trade. Because then people will say, oh, just bring Justin Crawford up. Justin Crawford is not ready. Justin Crawford is not ready. Don't know. R Seeker. $100 for 3 hitters and on base percentage players. What does that mean? What does that mean? At least those teams have runners in scoring position. What are you talking about? If you're talking to the fact that the Phillies never get runners in scoring position, they went 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. They're clearly getting runners in scoring position. They're getting runners in scoring position literally every single game. They just cannot hit with runners in scoring position. Chas McCormick. Who was the player that you keep bringing up, Zach? I think he's from Colorado. Brenton Doyle. I think he's the name. I think Brenton Doyle. He's trolling. He has to be. I don't know. I'm just like I don't even know what he's talking about. He just says one line and doesn't really elaborate on it. The only thing that he elaborated was not mentally tough for Aaron Nola. That was the only thing he said. Brenton Doyle. Yes, Brenton Doyle. Realistically, that's the only guy that I could think of that you could trade for because I don't know what other team is going to be trading their center fielder. Because Brenton Doyle, he plays for Colorado. Brenton Doyle, I think his numbers are solid. But I think there could also be an argument that he's got the Coors effect because he plays in Colorado. This year for the Rockies, he's had 53 at bats. He's batting 321 with a 357 on base and a 904 OPS, 3 home runs, 12 RBI. So obviously his stats have been very good this year for Colorado. And he's played in 12 games. So I'm not sure if he's injured. Did he get injured? When was his last game? Game log. What was his last game? His last game was April 10th, so I guess he just got injured, if I'm not mistaken. I guess. Taylor Ward definitely. Yeah, Taylor Ward's a name. But would the Angels trade him? I'm sure his name has been brought up in trade rumors lately. Taylor Ward this year, he basically would be the same type of hitter you're getting that's on this team. Taylor Ward, 71 at bats, 239 average, 276 on base, 755 OPS, 5 home runs, 8 RBI. Yeah, he really hasn't been. He's really the same hitter that you have, basically, at this rate. Strikes out a lot. He's not really an on base guy, even though in 2022 he had 360 on base, but that was 3 years ago at this rate. Last year he had a 323. 2023 he had a 335 on base. It's just like he wouldn't really be a solution either, I guess you can say. But even though it's like drastically better than anything we have here, it's drastically better. Drastically. Yeah, I know Luis Roberts is struggling too. Yeah, I know Luis Roberts really struggling too. So I don't even know if he's enough. Doyle had about as many home runs on the road as home last year. Interesting. Let me look at those splits for Doyle. Those home and road splits. Let me look at those splits. Look at those splits. That's 2025 splits. 2024 splits. Home and road, home and road. Yeah, same amount of home runs as basically on the home versus the road. He had 12 home runs at home last year. He had 11 home runs on the road. But the slashes are definitely the drastic change. At home at Coors Field, he batted 313 with a 365 on base with a 534 slug and a 900 OPS. On the road, he batted 211, 271 on base and a 364 slug for a 636 OPS. So definitely is a sign of the Coors effect there. Yeah, the home runs are good. Yeah, Brenton Doyle obviously would be an upgrade. I'm not saying he would be. Brent Doyle obviously would be an upgrade on anything that the Phillies have right now in center field. Would obviously be a 100% an upgrade. So, see if there's anything article-wise from post-game that we can just like point out. I'm not sure if there's been anything from Rob Thompson or anything like that. Any comments here? Any comments here? I don't think so. This is a John Clark article on NBC Sports Philadelphia. I really haven't seen much quote-wise from like Rob or anything like that, even though Rob's not really going to tell you anything. I do want to find MLB stats with runners in scoring position. MLB teams with runners in scoring position. Here we go. Team averages with runners in scoring position this year. Okay, here we go. Here we go. This is 2025, right? Okay. So let's see. Let's see. Where are the Phillies at? Where are the Phillies at? Where is this accurate? I don't know if this is accurate. That's left with runners in scoring position. I don't know if that shows average. This is on Fangraphs. Can I scroll? Can I scroll, please? Thank you. Runners left in scoring position. That's runners left in scoring position. I'm trying to find like stats with runners in scoring position. Major League Baseball team splits with runners in scoring position. Team splits. Can I look at team splits? Is there a way to Batting. This is the 2024 season. Can I look at 2025 next season? Here we go. I think this is 2020. Yep, 2025. Who is the worst team with runners in scoring position this year? Okay, here we go. So this is on Baseball Reference. So currently, the Phillies, they are the 6th worst team in terms of hitting with runners in scoring position average-wise. They have a 206 batting average, and there are 5 teams that are worse than them. The Atlanta Braves, they have a 197 average. The Cleveland Guardians, they have a 190 average. The Colorado Rockies, they have a 182 average. The Mets have a 159 average. That's surprising. And the Seattle Mariners have a 149 average. That's not surprising because the Mariners' offense has been dreadful. On base percentage with runners in scoring position, Phillies are the 9th best team in terms of on base. In terms of slugging, who's the worst slugging team with runners in scoring position? Phillies are middle in the pack in terms of slugging. Mariners, obviously, they're the worst. Jesus Christ, they're just the worst team overall with runners in scoring position. My God. OPS, Phillies are top 10 there. It's just their average. They cannot put the ball in play. That's really just what it is. Home runs with runners in scoring position, the Phillies are actually 6th in that. That's funny. Phillies have 50 RBIs. That's middle of the pack. And it's just batting average on balls in play. I'm assuming that's a luck stat, right? That is a luck stat. BABIP. The Phillies actually have a better average in terms of BABIP. So that means I guess they're getting unlucky. I don't know. I don't know. I hate like the unlucky stat and all that stuff what people talk about with baseball. But there's your stats with runners in scoring position. So Phillies are the 6th worst team average-wise in terms of runners in scoring position. And some of those teams that are below them are good teams. The Mets, like the Mets being the 2nd worst team in terms of runners in scoring position, and they have Juan Soto and Pete Alonso playing as good as he is. That's shocking. Who's the best team in terms of runners in scoring position? Best team batting average-wise. The Pittsburgh Pirates are the best team batting average-wise with runners in scoring position, and the Athletics, the Reds, the Rays, the Cubs, the Cardinals, the Yankees, the Giants, Marlins, Minnesota, Toronto, just the Angels, the Dodgers, the Padres. There's a lot of good teams on the bottom of the list too. Jeez, that is weird. That is weird. That is weird. That is weird. There's a lot of good teams on that list that are like bad with runners in scoring position. That is shocking. But we are getting a little too long here on this stream. We're almost 40 minutes, and we do have one voicemail here from Zach. We might as well get to that. Oh yeah, also, if people didn't notice, I got a new webcam. New webcam if people didn't notice. I don't know if it points out to the 60 frames here, but this is a 60 frame per second camera. I'm not sure if YouTube shows that. I don't even know if I can stream in 60 FPS. Let's get to the voicemail here from Zach. Get to that voicemail here. What do you got, Zach?
Hey, Amadeo. It appears I'm catching you at the buzzer here. I won't make this call too long. Maybe you'll even play it. But I can't tell you much. I was at the Orioles game, which was definitely the right choice tonight, seeing that they won 9-1. But I can't tell you much. I didn't watch the game, but I saw Aaron Nola imploded, put up a shit performance for my fantasy team, but I could really care less about that. Saw Bryce hit a home run, but I would imagine it was more of the same. The bullpen appeared to blow up, and, I can't tell you much. I mean, I don't even know I'm calling in. I just feel like, I like to get my voice heard, but they just didn't do enough to win. Pitching sucked. The hitting didn't do enough. I mean, we'll see. Watch the highlights later, I guess, if I really want to put myself through that.
I would not recommend that.
Yep.
I would not recommend that.
Not much else to say. At this point, the best you can do is split the series, and who even knows if they'll do that. So, well, I guess it's go Phils, but, it's getting tough to say at this point.
Yep.
Peace.
I agree with that. Yeah, I would not recommend you putting yourself through those highlights. Would not recommend it. So in terms of tomorrow's game, that is a 4:00 game in the late afternoon. Christopher Sanchez on the mound going up against Jordan Hicks. And Jordan Hicks, he's 1-1 with a 5.87 ERA. In his Last outing against the Yankees, he was dreadful. He gave up 7 earned runs in 4 innings. And then previous to that, against the Mariners, he went 5 1/3, allowed 3 earned runs. And then previous to that, he went 6 shutout innings against the Houston Astros. So his starts have been getting worse. But that doesn't mean anything in terms of the Phillies. Did he pitch against the Phillies last year? I feel like he did. Not entirely sure. Did he pitch against the Phillies last year? Yes, he did. It was one game. It was in early May. He went 4 innings, allowed 2 earned runs, 4 runs total. So take that for what it's worth. So we'll see. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Christopher Sanchez on the bump. See if the Phillies can split the series. Maybe try to find some positivity in there. We'll see. But appreciate you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to drop a like. Don't forget to leave a comment. Don't forget to use the code TTPSPORTS, $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. And also don't forget to follow on TTP Sports for on TikTok and Instagram for all the good other content. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. And I'll see you next time. Yeah, Zach, watching paint dry might be more entertaining. Just putting that out there. Thank God WrestleMania is this weekend. So